Oh, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction, ma'am. It means a lot coming from you. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining on a Sunday evening when it's time to chill and relax. But I hope you will definitely take something out of today's session. I really, really hope that I'm able to add, value to your life, add something productive to your life. Seeing the times the pandemic is on, it is roaring and soaring at highest levels. I really wanted to do this session because I myself have gone through this from past few months. So I really wanted to do it because it's coming directly from my heart. So without much delay, let us start. Before we begin our session for today, I would request everyone to not to write anything during the session. If you are having a pen or a paper, please keep it aside. Please be completely free. Be completely at ease. This is not your academic session or your school curriculum. This is something which you will take for your life ahead. And if you are able to take this, I'm sure you will immensely benefit from it. So, the next few minutes, I will be talking about stress management. Whatever I will be telling you is all truth. And when something is true, when something is truth, it is unquestionable, it is unchallengeable. You cannot question truth. Therefore, you don't have to pen it down or take notes. You know that aftermath, you'll go back to your notes and you just revise it. No, it's not something like that. Reason is truth is something it gets ingrained in a thought process. It becomes a storehouse, and whenever the going gets tough, we can access it through our memory. So it's all in your memory. Once it's there, you can access it anytime. You will not carry a notebook when the going gets tough. It's like how you use your storehouse at that point, how you sail through with the knowledge you have gathered over the period of time, or whatever you will be taking back through this session. So the today's topic is stress management. Okay, before I begin, I want this to be a dialogue. I don't want this to be a monologue. Like I don't want to be a teacher here delivering everything to you and you are feeding like a child. No, that will not be the case. So please interact with me. And I think somebody's mic is not on mute. So I would request everybody to like mute yourself. And when I ask up anything, please unmute and please be free to answer anything and everything I ask. Please, I really need your cooperation in this. So, definition of stress. Okay. So, the basic definition of stress, it is unnecessary worry, which affects our mental and our physical being, mental and our physical well-being. So, what makes you worried? Can anybody tell me why are you worried? What makes you worry? Anybody, please? Anybody who would like to share? What makes you feel worried? What makes you feel irritated at times and you are not able to get through something? Why are you stuck in life? What makes you feel you're not able to get something? Why are you worried basically? Anybody?
I
Yeah.
think it is uncertainty because we all know that future is uncertain. We do not know what next will come. And as a youth, I think there are just too many things that we stress about: career, friends, social media. So, yes, all of this.
Yeah, right. So basically your worry comes from external circumstances, right? Kirti?
Yes, I know, right.
Right? So basically it's our external circumstances which affects. It's nothing coming from inside. It's everything it comes from outside, right? So worry is either what has gone by or worry is what is about yet to come. Okay. So stress happens not because you're not in the present. Either you are in your past or either you are in your future. You are not here. You are not now. It happens because of a denial, ignorance of not hugging the present. Now, what is reality for you at this moment? All of you are here attending the session with me. This is reality, right? We all are here discussing about stress management. This is your reality as of now. Literally, this is our reality, right? But I'm sure most of you are here physically, but your mind is stuck on the dead past or the unknown future. Some of you are worried about your deadline, some of you are worried about your incomplete work, some of you are worried about your job, some of you are worried about your relationships. Everything is going subconsciously in your mind almost at all times. So do you know why your mind is wandering? Have you ever thought about of like why does your mind keeps on wandering? Why does it keeps on rotating, or jumping from one thought to another? So can anybody would like to answer? Why does our mind behaves as being a wanderer with no set goal, with no set path, with no set destination? Anything? Okay. So before we actually talk, yeah,
Maybe because we are unable to accept the present situation.
absolutely, absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely. I sorry, oh, ma'am, your voice is breaking.
I said we are unable to accept the situation.
Yeah, right. That's the reason. Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for answering my question, ma'am. So before we actually, talk about our mind being a wanderer, or why it keeps on jumping from one thought to another, mind, let us really talk about what is mind actually. What do you mean by mind? Would anybody would like to answer? Please feel free to answer. I'm not here to judge you, give you marks. Your academic record is not being maintained. Hence, please make yourself comfortable. What is mind for you? What do you think is mind? What do you think is mind actually is?
Our thought process
Yeah, right.
at conscious
Right.
level.
Absolutely right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah. So our mind is actually our bundle of thoughts. It's not an organ, just like your heart. It's not an organ. It's abstract. It's a weaver of stories. Okay. It is rightly said, what you think, it manifests. It is not like you do something physically, that's action. If you're doing something, if you're taking down notes, or you are doing something physical activity, that's not only which we call an action. Your thoughts to turn into action, it may not turn into action immediately, but of course later in life they will manifest. Your thinking process does have a output, it does manifest at some point in your life, maybe in future. So your thoughts have an equal power, or you can say they have more power than your physical action, because it's a thought process, which So you have must have heard a healthy mind remains in a healthy body. But if your not mind is not healthy, your body will not be healthy. Okay, so I would like to quote from Bhagavad Gita here, and I would quote, "You are what you think, hence, thought is action. Being and becoming. What one thinks, one becomes." I unquote. So everything is created by your mind, everything is here. If you think positive, your output will be positive. If you think negative, you'll have a negative outcome in your life. So everything is here. Whatever exists in your mind is what you create around, you manifest around. If you think there is fear in your mind, you will find fear everywhere. If you think if you create harbor enmity in your mind, there will be enmity all around you. If you harbor hatred, there will be hatred all around. So it's all about approach, it's all about your thinking process, it's all about your attitude. Okay, so just as I said, it's all in the mind. Now, just as we control our physical actions, we know what is right, what is wrong, we know where to stop, where to start. We are always mindful of our actions. We are not unrestrained, we do not go unchecked. Similarly, we need to control our mind as well, just as we control our physical actions. So mind is like a monkey. It will keep on jumping, from one thought to another thought. 1 second you are stuck in one thought, then another second you will be you'll jump to another thought. So it is said that human mind undergoes 50,000 thoughts in a day. So if you keep on just thinking about your thoughts, you'll stuck in your thought process only. So it's better that you can start practicing to control your mind. Even if you have thoughts, every that's very natural, that's human tendency to have thoughts. You cannot just escape from it. But your task is here is to be vigilant, to be observant, and you just need to have a you need to just get aside from your thoughts, have a distance view. Okay, so there is this concept by Bertolt Brecht. he says defamiliarization and alienation effect. So whenever you go and watch a movie, he says that you always watch it from a distance. Don't get too much emotionally or involved with the scenes which are going on. Have an objective view, because once you are having an objective view, your reason, you are able to access your reason. You are more reasonable, you are able to take and judge everything from an objective point of view. But when you get emotionally too involved in something, you try to get sentimental, and then there comes subjectivity, and then you start having prejudices, bias, and you tend to get too much involved with it. But thoughts are but thoughts as same as well. You do not have to get too much involved with the thoughts. Have a distance view, have an eagle's view. Like just as if you go on the top of the mountain, you see everything from a higher perspective. Similarly, you have to see your thoughts from that higher perspective, and you'll see that your thoughts will just pass away one after the other. They'll keep on going. Don't hold on to your thoughts. So I repeat this, not to get involved with your thoughts. Detach yourself from your thoughts. Be a witness to them, a silent observer. Allow them to pass as they come by. Give way to them. As clouds come and go in movie scene changes, so does our thoughts. They have a nature of coming and going. Your task is to give them way, and not to think about any thought. Do not overthink your thought, not to hold any thought as though it was true. Just skip through it. Do not pause on any thought, or do not reflect on your thoughts. Otherwise, one thought will lead to another thought, and one time you will reach a dead end, and you will be like, what next? You will be in an abyss, a dead end basically. So basically, the nature of our mind is to create misery. It will make you doubt everything. It will make you feel that you are not effective, you are not efficient, you are not productive, you are not worthy enough, you cannot do that, you cannot do this, you are not capable enough. Whatever I am doing in my life, whether it is right or not, what path I have chosen, is it right? Whether I will reach my destination, whether I will reach my goal, the mind will always look at you with a suspicious eye. Your task here is to control your mind rather than allowing your mind to control you. Now, how can you control your mind? Can anybody would like to answer? Anybody? How can you control your mind? What do you think? How can we control our mind? We can control our physical actions. Yeah.
Easy to say and difficult to do, but the
Yes.
thing is except that if you do things mindfully, you can control your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said, ma'am. I agree with your point that it's a very tedious process to control your mind, but I'm not saying it to do it within a day or 2 days, 3 days. It's a lifelong process. As you grow old, as you grow wise, these things come naturally to you, but your task is to start practicing it. Start, if you start somewhere, then only you'll reach the end point, right? So you always need to begin. You need to be consciously doing it. So I'll tell you something. Recently, I was facing depression. So I used to think a lot about my past, or what I'm doing with my future. I was very uncertain about everything and anything in my life. So I started talking to my mind, and that was that. And I am just like you. I'm not too old, right? But I did it with my conscious efforts, because you have to do it like physical. When you do physical actions, you do it consciously, right? Similarly, consciously, you have to control your mind as well. So I used to talk to my mind. No, no, no. Whenever I had used to have a negative thought, I used to say, it's a dead past, it's gone, what can I do now? I cannot do anything. Whatever may come, I will face it with a with a with a strong determination. I will just face it, whatever comes my way. So this is how this is how I controlled my mind, and I tried to channelize my energies into more useful activities. And whenever I used to talk to my mind, my thought used to stop there. I never used to jump to another thought, because I stopped my mind there and there itself. If you do not stop your mind, then of course it will lead you to another thought and then another thought. Okay, so you can control your mind by making mind your slave. Be the master, Train your mind by persistent and constant efforts. It's not a one day process, just as I said, it's a continuous cycle. Talk to your mind, repeat the positive affirmations. So there's this book I read recently, The Secret. I'm sure many of you must have read this book, The Secret. So, my family suffered from COVID just the past month. So I read this book last year. I decided to open this book again because I was going through a really, really tough time. So I just flipped through the pages. I read a number of quotes, and it's full of positive affirmation. It says that whatever you think, you manifest. If you think you are rich, you will definitely be rich. Not today, but definitely some point later in your life, because your thought process is like that. If your thought process is negative, you will of course suffer from deprivation, you will of course suffer from sadness, misery, or thoughts like that. So talk to your mind, repeat your positive affirmations, take down. What I have done is I have taken a new diary. I have written down my points that I am this, I am this, I am this. So I am already, writing what I do, what I want to do in future. Like I am an aspirant for PhD. So I have written I am a PhD scholar. I am thinking as if I am already am. So if you think like you already are something, then you will surely manifest it something at later point in your life. But you need to have that outlook. You need to have that attitude. That attitude is really, really important. And make sure that whatever you write, please read those positive affirmations before going to bed and once you wake up in the morning, so that you are reminded that you have to achieve this sometime later in your life. Okay. So whenever you feel you're allowing whenever you feel your mind is allowing you to control you, stop and change your mind by a positive affirmation. Many of us, we have a habit of overthinking. You know why? Because we have allowed our mind to roam free, unrestrained, unchecked. We have given it the freedom. Some of us, that freedom we deserve, we want in real life. That kind of freedom we have given it to our mind. So give me a moment, please. This is technical error. I'm not able to, navigate through it. Yeah. So I was saying that we have allowed our mind to roam free, unrestrained, unchecked. We have given it the freedom. Some of us, that we demand that freedom in real life. In Gita, Arjuna admits to Krishna, and I quote, "Mind is very restless, forceful, and strong." Just give me a moment. I am having some technical error at my end. I'm really sorry for it. Give me a moment. I'll just connect to Namrata ma'am. I'm unable to view my screen.
Yes. Yes, Shivangi.
Namrata ma'am, just give me a moment. There's this computer error. Just give me a moment, please.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay.
Excuse me, Namrita ma'am. Hello, hello.
Hello. Yeah, now it's fine. Yeah, ma'am, you were asking something. I'm sorry, I was busy with my computer. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think
Namrata ma'am, somebody has a
yes,
question.
yes, yes, yes. You are audible. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. So I was talking about, in Gita, Arjuna admits to Krishna, and I quote, "Mindful is very restless, forceful, and strong. Oh Krishna, it is more difficult to control the mind than to control the wind." I unquote. So our mind travels faster than the wind. So we need to really discipline our mind, need to discipline our seed, that is the mind seed, because everything starts with the mind. So now let us talk about how we can actually control our stress. Like our class is about managing our stress. So we manage everything. We manage our stress, we manage our finances, we manage our household chores, we manage almost everything and everything. So how do we manage stress? So we can, manage stress by first by meditation. Now many of us might ask, what do you mean by meditation? What do you actually mean by meditation? For many of us, it is being silent for a certain period of time, or sitting in a certain posture, in a complete peace. That is right, but it has something more to it. Meditation is not a system, it's not an organized religion. It does not even require God as a reference point. It is a way, the way you try to get immersed in yourself. You getting immersed in your inner soul, basically. It's self immersion. Sufi people, they call it bekhudi. I would like to call it's called bekhudi, that is self immersion. So meditation is connecting to your inner soul. Your soul does talk if you listen to it, and that power of listening and connecting comes with meditation. So in order to really need, if you need to connect with your soul, your mind needs to be at peace. You need to be at completely at ease, and that comes with meditation. And meditation gives you clarity. It helps you tap your inner potentialities, your inner energies, your inner reservoir, your inner treasure. It's full of the potentialities which are yet to be, yet to come out. So in order to tap those potentialities, you need to meditate. So the way of tapping inner energies, it can be different. So I would like to talk about my way of meditating. So, I am a Buddhism practitioner. Now, for some of you, Buddhism might come out as a different religion, but no, it's not a religion. It's just a practice. It's a way to, tap your inner potentialities, your hidden powers, your hidden reservoirs of potentialities. So Buddhism says there is a Buddha in each one of us. You, me, everyone in this meeting, everybody has a Buddha inside you. But where the problem lies? We are unable to manifest that Buddha. We are unable to manifest that positivity, that inner reservoir, and that comes through meditation. And for me, meditation is chanting of Namyoho Renge Kyo. That is what I do in Buddhism. I try to manifest my uttermost potentialities, and I have seen tremendous results. So this is my way of meditating. I'm not saying you to follow this, but your way can be different. But so the point I want to highlight is the road to meditation might be different. It may be different for you. The way you meditate might be different. Some seek help of spiritual gurus. That's completely fine. But the ultimate goal is to reach your inner soul, to connect with your inner soul. That's really important. So yeah, so the end goal is same, that is to have connect with your software, that is soul. Your technology of life, your system of life will work really well if your software is polished. Your hardware is your physical body, and your software is your inner soul, right? This body is our physical body, this is our hardware. Okay, so I have often seen people spending money for gym. They're ready to give as much as they want in order to get toned body, which is completely fine. Of course, everybody wants to be fit. Everybody wants to be healthy, but little they realize that it's the inner software which needs an update. You have applications in your phones, and you update it from time to time, right? Similarly, our inner soul needs an updation as well. If you don't update it, it will get tarnished. It is unused, then your existence is just a mere existence, living and dying, and then again taking birth, living and dying. But if you connect to your soul, that's something deep, that's something transcendental, that actually makes you a human being. Okay, so yeah. So also, initially, meditation will take it will take really lot of efforts. You might be restless all the time. You might feel I'm not able to do it. It's very frustrating to sit. You know, uh, at completely at peace in a certain posture for 10 minutes with your eyes closed, but start with it. Start with 1 minute, and then gradually increase your time to 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, and you will see that uh, there will be a time when meditation will actually become your way of life. You will develop that meditative attitude with time. You can, and when once you reach that point, you can do meditation anywhere and anytime. You do not want to, then that will not be the time. You will need a separate room to sit, and there will be complete silence. Real meditation happens amidst all the noise. When you are able to meditate amidst all the noise, when you are able to tap that inner peace, that's the real meditation. Okay. So I am hope till now everything is clear to everyone. Anything, any questions still here? Please feel free to ask. Anything you would like to answer, like ask, like to question, or whatever I have said till now.
So in one of the Bhagavad Gita quotes, you said that the mind is just like you mentioned a word that it's like the wind or I don't know what.
Yes, yes, yes,
And it's
yes.
difficult to control. What was that word?
Control the mind, then to control the wind. So
Okay.
basically it said that it is more difficult to control mind. You can easily control wind, but you cannot easily control mind. Mind travels faster than wind. Basically, that was my point.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Not to worry, Kitty, thank you so much. Okay, so let's move further. Any more questions? Anything else? Okay, so let's move forward. So the other way to handle stress is to live in the present. Just as I said in the beginning, yesterday is the history, tomorrow is the mystery, and today is a gift, and that is why we call it present. I repeat, yesterday, and this is my favorite quote. Yesterday is a history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift, and that is why we call it present. The past is dead, the future is a non fact, it is unknown, but present is reality. So, shut the past, cut the future, and live in the present. Present is here now, and that comes with, a lot of efforts, and that comes by controlling your mind. Okay, so simply pondering over your past miseries and not learning lessons will make us cling to the past, will make us cling to our sadness, will cling us to what has gone by. What has gone by is gone by. It's not coming back. Okay. So it is only when we let go of past and move on in life, we can brighten the present. If you're not happy as you are, where you are, you will never be happy. Okay. People are stressed these days because they find multiple ways to escape reality. So I have seen people around me, some have turned to drugs, some have turned to smoking, some they try to wear a chill attitude, dekha jayega jo hoega, you must have heard it from your friends, right? Little they realize that no matter what, you cannot just escape reality. Reality will always haunt you in one way or some other way. It will always come back to you. Hence, always face your reality headstrong. Talk to yourself. This is what I have in front of me. Deal with it. Make the best out of whatever life throws at you. You need to have that say yes to life, say yes to life, say yes to life attitude, to all that life has to offer, and that will include surprises, setbacks, personal tragedies, and not just to happy and good times, because life is not linear. Okay, life will have some bumps, right? Life will have some hurdles, life will have some obstacles. That is what we call it life, right? Now some of you might say, how can we face reality when life is unfair to us, right? How to accept reality when the circumstances, situations are not in your favor? How to really deal with it? Honestly speaking, there will be times when you will feel, why me? What bad causes did I create that is making me suffer? So now that is really the time we need firm faith and conviction. That's actually the time you need to strengthen your faith more. Have gratitude in your heart that the supreme power is giving you the chance to strengthen the faith. Okay, and he's giving you a chance to move up the ladder. Hence, closer to that oversoul, closer to that omnipotent, omniscient, overpower soul. Now, I don't know if everybody believes in God or not, but I'm sure everybody will believe that there is this power, there is this energy operating in this universe, and which is taking care of everything which is around us, right? So, whenever challenges come your way, whenever obstacles come your way, don't give up. Take it as an opportunity that no matter what, I'll come out of it. I'll be victorious. Be determined. Because, when you are determined, when even God sees that you are determined, you are headstrong, that no matter what you have, never to say die attitude you don't have, then God will also surrender to you. God will definitely give you all the pause you require, and you'll sail through it effortlessly. All I'm saying is you need to have that conviction, you need to stay headstrong, you need to have that faith at that point of time. Okay, so always remember, and this is my personal experience, God will always give you those tests of life which He thinks you will sail through. The road cannot be smooth, just like the ocean waves, which is high at times and then low. Our life is such. After night, day follows, after darkness, light enters. As the saying goes, life is not bed of roses. There will be thorns, of course. The important point is, what do you do with the thorns? Either you cry over them, or do you pluck them or throw them out, and or you or you keep on complaining or making excuses as to why me, why is this happening to me, what I have done to that God is giving me such punishments or such suffering, such miseries. Then how can you sail then? By having a positive attitude towards life, or wearing a smile always at all times. Wear a smile. It will definitely help you sail through. Thomas Edison said, and I quote, "There is great value in disaster." It is true that disappointments, pain, and suffering have made life difficult for all of us, but surviving those odds has also made heroes of us. It's actually the time that we get a time to, these trying and testing times, they give us a chance to grow. We evolve as an individual, we are able to perceive and interpret life better. Now some of you might think, how can we smile when the situations are unfavorable, right? You can, because happiness is a way of life. Happiness does not happen to us, it happens by us. And I repeat, happiness does not happen to us. It will not come to you by some external circumstances, your friends, your relative, your families, your outings. That is a temporary happiness. That's not a permanent happiness. Hence, happiness happens by us. It happens by our attitude, it happens by our mindset. We can maximize happiness by minimizing two habits: expectations and comparisons. When we have high expectations of others, especially our near and dear ones, we invariably end up being getting hurt or end up feeling miserable. Similarly, making comparisons, they can also cause emotions like discontentment, enmity, hatred, jealousy, and unhealthy competitive spirit. So I have often seen, my friends, they always complain about that he or she has cleared the exam, but little they realize that no matter what, your journey is different from their journey, right? Eventually you will also reach that point, but it's all about time. It may take a little longer, but eventually you will get what you want. So never compare yourself with others. Trust your journey and trust yourselves. When we have high yeah, so it is of course easy to float through life when everything is going according to our wishes, right? It is however difficult to remain positive in a negative environment. So, to be positive at such times require great strength and a strong will. How can this be achieved? It can be achieved by making spirituality an integral part of our life. So you have to make spirituality an integral part of life. Spirituality helps clear away negativity as we struggle with adverse circumstances. Spirituality means converting your negative thoughts into positive ones. It calms the mind and heart and makes your bond with this universe, this Brahman, stronger. Spirituality helps you connect with the world. It makes you one with the universe. Spirituality makes you realize that you are just a minuscule, or just, just a particle, or just an atom in this large fabric, in this large cloth of life. You're just a minuscule of it in this vast ocean of life. Also, it makes you realize the interconnectedness of all beings, meaning we all beings are connected. We together have created this web of life. So me, you, everybody in this meeting, we are connected. So whatever we do to the web, whatever I do to you, I am indirectly doing it to myself. It will come back to me. It's law of universe. Whatever goes around comes around, right? We must have heard this. So all things are bound together, all things are synced with each other. Hence, if you curse somebody, you are actually cursing yourself, and if you are hurting somebody's emotions, or you are hurting somebody's feelings, you are indirectly hurting yourself. Therefore, you need to shred your ego, shred this narcissism of me, my problems, my worries, my miseries, my life, my financial conditions. you know when you start looking at life from a larger perspective, your problems will be just be a minuscule. Okay, so always feel that you are a part of universe, and the universe is part of you. You are me, and me are you. Okay, and the other way you can control your stress is by believing in yourself. Okay, so there will be times, when your peers, your relatives, your parents, they might doubt you. That's obvious. We have been brought up in such a society that will always question your abilities, your capabilities. That's I have grown with it. I have seen with it. I have seen my friends growing up with that. Society definitely might have some expectations from you, and that expectations might not match your expectations. Okay, Swami Vivekanand said, and I would like to quote, we are responsible for what we are and what we wish ourselves to be. We have the power to make ourselves. You cannot believe in God until you believe in yourselves. You must have heard, like, it's not basically heard, we are child of God, right? We all are child of that supreme power, that supreme soul, that overarching soul. We are part of him. So basically, if that supreme soul resides in each one of us, if we are doubting ourselves, we are basically doubting God, right? Indirectly we are doubting God. So never ever, always trust your journey and never doubt yourself. Never give it a thought that, I'm not capable of doing it. Never say like that. There is this another powerful quote by Gandhiji, and this exactly we all need to incorporate into our lives, and I would like to quote him. Man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If I keep on saying to myself that I cannot do a certain thing, it is possible that I may end up by really becoming incapable of doing it. On the contrary, if I have the belief that I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capacity to do it, even if I may not have it at the beginning. Unquote. So even if you do not have the I would like to share my experience. I was not good at maths. Okay, I was not good at reasoning. So my friends really used to say, why do you keep on saying, you are not good at maths? At least give it a try. At least believe yourself. At least try practicing it. So I just started saying to myself, I am capable of it. I can actually do it. And the day has gone by till now. I'm actually pretty much, I'm fine with maths. I'm not actually, I don't have that fear anymore. I'm comfortable with it. So the point I want to make it clear is, even if you don't have the potentiality or the capability at the beginning, you may end up having it at the end because of your attitude and because of your strong belief in yourself. So, as I said earlier, I used to doubt my potentialities a lot. I used to self-doubt whether whatever decision I took for myself, is it right or is it wrong. I always needed an external validation for my decisions. Recently, I realized that this way I'm losing my original self. There is no longer a me. It's others operating through me. It's others' opinions, others' decisions, others' viewpoint who are operating through me. And that was the time, I decided to step up. And in my heart, I always said, I trust my decisions and my journey. So you can always, say as well that that I will trust my decisions and my journey, and whatever decisions I am taking, they are extreme, they are right, and they will give me fruit, if not now, later in my life. Okay. So, any doubts till now? Anything anybody would like to ask? I hope I am making some sense. Okay, so let's move forward. So, when the relative said something that was, yeah, yeah. So when the relative said something that was contrary to my belief, I never took it to heart. Like Shiva, it just got stored in my cunt. Like Shiva stored poison in his throat. Everything that comes to me, I just take it to my throat, but I never allow it to seep it into my heart. So all it requires is belief at all times. Just be who you are and let your life flow. Be completely free, absolutely free, be liberated. Don't be in tension, anxiety all the time. That will not give you any result, that will not lead you anywhere. On the contrary, it will only hamper your potentialities. You will not be able to take wise decisions. It will hamper your productivity. You will hamper your productivity at the workplace. It will destroy your relationships. So never be anxious, just believe in yourself. You might not receive something immediately, but if you hold on to it, it will definitely give you fruits. Okay. And Jalaluddin Rumi said, and I would like to quote, "You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling. So don't. You have wings, learn to use them and fly. Use your wings and fly. Don't crawl like a baby. Once of course, a baby you has to crawl once he doesn't learn walking. Once you are adult, please be completely free. Fly as much as you can. Do whatever you want to do in your life. Be completely free. Don't think what society will say, what my relatives will say. They will keep on saying. That has been happening all the time. It is happening and it will happen. So it's your task how you come out of it, how you come out of that vicious cycle. Okay. So the other thing is stress is also caused, by the clash between who we actually are and what society wants us to be, just as I said now. So as a child, I remember how a well-mannered, obedient, academically good child was always rewarded. While a spoiled brat of a class always used to get punished and scolded for his actions. And in order to be accepted by his peers, by his teachers, in order to be acknowledged, that spoiled brat used to play a role which was distinct from his true and absolute nature. So this way, right from childhood, we lose our freedom to be ourselves and become what others want us to be. A child who grows in such an environment of too many of rules and regulations breeds fear in his or her heart from a very tender age. And this fear later manifests and makes them shy, introvert, reserved. As an adult, we suffer from chronic problems like headache, fatigue, backaches, acidity, and we seek medical attention, little knowing the fact that the root cause of all these problems is our lack of freedom to be ourselves and to express ourselves freely. Medical sciences, they often treat symptoms without going into the root cause of the disease. They do not, without going into the metaphysical aspects of the disease, meaning beyond the disease. There's something underlying the disease. They, of course, cure your symptoms, but they do not take out something from your root. Okay, so I'm sure many of you must be mothers, fathers, or you are soon to be mothers or fathers. So please always give your children the freedom they desire. This freedom does not include harming others or indulging in any of the criminal or unwanted activities, but the freedom to who they want to be, freedom to have to choose an identity of their own. Give them the liberty to fly, and not only to fly but fly high. So taking it further, so now in the current times when the pandemic is on, many of us are facing alienation, desolation. We feel very hopeless as to where our lives are going, what will we do, where will we end up, where will we land. And many of us, we talk about being alone. They often say that we are too alone, we don't have anyone to talk to hang out with someone. They're afraid of being alone, hence they keep themselves occupied, which is actually fine. An empty mind is a devil's workshop. But being alone, it's really really gratitude, it's a blessing in disguise basically. When we are alone, we introspect and we can take a close look at real life. And when I said real life, I shall explain with my example. We all know that the pandemic is roaring since 2020, right? Now, initially, for some days, I tried and accepted my situation. I realized that, this is actually a blessing for me. And not only a blessing for me, but it was a blessing for everybody. And it is a blessing even now. Earlier, I always used to say that in this modern world, nobody has a, time to stop. Nobody has a time to introspect or to know what actually life is, what is the real meaning of life, we are why we are born on this earth, what is our purpose on this earth, what is our mission. Okay, so fortunately, I think pandemic has given everyone enough time to make everyone realize that they're false. For some, it came as a shock. Reason being, they're busy with their life of artificiality, and I would like to, emphasize it, artificiality. But when reality bumped into them, it was hard. This is all because we don't really enjoy being alone. We should learn to live with it. Remember, all great discoveries happen because of ideas, and ideas come when you are alone with yourself. When you spend some quality time with yourself, away from the hustle and bustle of social media, away from your friends, completely my time, like the youngsters say these days, me time. So, always be grateful for your aloneness and start to cherish it. This is actually the time you can discover who you really are, you know. So, the other way you can release your stresses, you can really pen down your emotions. Whenever your mind is racing faster than the speed of wind, the best way to vent out all your emotions is pen down. Your diary is your best healer. Whenever there is nobody to understand you, sometimes I also feel that I don't know whether my if I talk to my friend, whether he or she will be able to relate it, or whether they will understand what I am actually going through. I take out a page, I really write down, and this is not a cramming I have done from it. This is actually I practice it. I write down almost every day, and whatever feel if I feel I have reached a deadlock or I am having a really really hard time, so I just pen down my emotions, and when after I'm done writing, I feel completely relaxed because I have just emptied my mind. Then it becomes completely free, right? So the other thing I want to talk about is that we should all practice the habit of giving. Unity is the law of nature, as I just said. We all are interconnected. Okay, we are part of one same soul, one same super soul. Okay, so without give and take, there is no life. When the sun shines, river flows, birds sings, and trees bear fruit, they do so without expecting or our acknowledgement or even our praise. Everything in nature gives as much as possible. So, always take care of your surroundings, always take care of your society, always take care of each and everybody around you. Give them love, warmth, compassion, and empathize with them. Maybe they are not able to empathize with you, but you start with them. You be the better person, you start with it. You start empathizing with, when you start doing it, it will definitely come back to you many-fold in some way or the other. Albert Einstein profoundly quoted, and I quote, "The value of a man resides in not what he gives, but and not in what he is capable of receiving." And I would like to repeat this: the value of a man resides in what he gives, and not what he is capable of receiving. Unquote. So never underestimate the power of giving. Try to focus on giving rather than receiving. Also, the fulfillment and joy we can derive by giving is priceless. The most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love, and you'll see it will come back to you. We can make a living by what we get, but we can make a life by what we give. So, that's all I have to say on stress management. But before I end my discussion, like before I end what I had to say, I have to say that our education system should, it really needs to incorporate a curriculum of courage giving courses to increase an individual's spiritual quotient. Half an hour of meditation or yoga and storytelling of great souls and talks like this would, it will make youth really courageous and strong. It will make them life ready. We have all have given tests in schools. We have passed them, but we are not really ready for the test of life. So that's because we are not trained in our schools. So this should begin from the school, the formative years of a life, the very foundation of a life. If our roots are strong, if our foundation is right, if our foundation is upright, then come what may, we will never feel the test of life. So that's what I had to say. Now the floor is open to questions. Please feel free to ask anything. I'll try to, answer to the best of my abilities. Please feel free to question me. Anything would do, please. Nobody has any question? Yeah. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, I would like to know the name of the book titled The Secret that you had mentioned, ma'am. We have
Yeah,
heard
ma'am.
about the book, but not the author.
Yeah, ma'am. I'll share it with after the class. It's Rondon Byron. I'll just share the name after the class. It's Byron. Rondon Byron.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything you can discuss if you're facing some issues in your life, you want to, just burst it out. Please feel free to burst out. Here is the time to let go of all your emotions, all your, negative emotions, anything which is putting you down, any unfavorable circumstances, any trauma, anything or anything you would like to share with everybody else here.
So hi, uh,
Hi.
I
Hi.
have a question actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, so as you said, we are supposed to empathize with
yeah,
people around us.
yeah,
We need to be kind.
yeah, yeah, of course.
So, but sometimes it so happens that there are some toxic people around us. Whether
Yeah,
that person maybe a friend or may not be a friend, but they exist around us.
yeah,
And sometimes they bother us in so many ways.
yeah.
Um, so, is it okay to empathize with people like them, or is it better to stay away from such people? That's my question.
Yeah, so ma'am, many of the self-help books says you need to, get away from the toxic people, but I have a different approach to them. So what I do is I do not get involved with the emotions. Like even if they're toxic, you be the better person. You do not get involved with the emotions or you do not get involved in the toxicity. You just have an objective view, as I just said. Try to empathize with them, give them an approach towards life. Some point of time, later they will realize about their toxicity or they will realize what they did bad to you or whatever negative feelings they harbor towards you. But you be the better person, you be the kinder person, you empathize with them no matter what. Okay, this is how I deal with it. Self-help book says you, if you are around negativity, you will breed negativity. That is one way of looking at things. But my way is, as I said, that each one of us is, we are unique. Each of one is a masterpiece. Each one of us are different. Everybody has a different nature. Maybe those are toxic people, but you cannot ignore them. They are God styled as well. They must have something good in them. So just pick them their good things. Do not focus on the negative part. Pick their good things. They must have something good in them. So no, pick their good things. Learn something good from them. Do not, So some of my friends are toxic too. Not friends, my acquaintances. So they have some negative habits. So what I do is, but they do have some good things as well. So they are very, they're very ambitious, they're very productive, they have a very strict time schedule and everything. So I try to incorporate that into my life. And I, of course, since they're my acquaintance, I try to tell them where they are going wrong. If they accept it, then it's fine. If they do not, then that's their call. But you try to relate with them, you try to be the bigger person. Okay, Upasha, I making some sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to answer or
Yeah,
ask anything? Yeah.
I tried to empathize, as you said, for so many years. I'm
Yeah.
talking about my relatives. But had it been only through words and up till to words, it would have been okay. But it came down to my life. Though I
Oh.
had stopped talking, but they kept on, interfering, and through this way or that way, they tried to enter my life through my parents, through my relatives, sorry, through my siblings, and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, so it's very difficult. It's said that this book says that and that book says so, but
Hmm.
practically I've gone through. It had come to my life. I was going to lose my sight. I was going to lose my life also. Though I had empathized, but they played a victim card to escape. And for so many years, and it's like that. So it's easy because I have been surrounded by so many such people, especially my relatives, and that's why I came today to attend this class, how to manage. But all this, most of the things I have already, ma'am, tried to follow, being spiritual, being very you know um, objective, and not to get involved with their tantrums and
Yeah,
so on. But very difficult to manage when these people are all around you, even in the family
yeah, yeah,
also.
yeah.
Because 24 hours you are surrounded by such people, and it's very, and to manage stress, and also after managing stress, you have to pay attention to your own job or other things, other activities of life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I
very,
get your
very
point,
difficult.
ma'am.
Easy to say, difficult to manage. And they are really very toxic. I mean, so toxic that each and every second, each and every moment that you spend with them, because they are all around you in the form of family members, relatives, they are all around you 24
Yeah,
hours.
ma'am. Yeah, that happens with me as well, ma'am. So even I have my relatives, they keep on nagging, they keep on interfering with my life as well. But I understand your situation is much tougher than me, much, much problematic than mine. But all you can do is accept it. You know, what you can do, you cannot just escape it. You have to accept it. And now it depends on you how you accept it. Either you can be furious, either you can be angry, either you can be agitated all the times, or you just accept it and just let it go, let it flow. It depends upon us, like how we take life. So even my relatives, they have a habit of interfering with my life, my career, what I'm doing, where will I reach. So they keep on doing one thing or the other. Earlier I used to feel very agitated, and they also approached me through my parents or through my grandparents or through my other relatives. They try and approach me from some other way. They try to intrude my life. But it depends on us. If you don't allow anything to happen, nothing can happen to you. If you give a chance, then everything will come to you in one form or the other. So it's all in your hands. It's all how you play with it. Either you make a misery of the situation, or you try to handle it with with reason, or with some sense of calmness, or with some peace. Everything will this is bound to happen. This actually happens with everybody present here.
We are in the same building.
we are in the
Not
we are we are in the same boat, ma'am. That's what I said. Even we are in the same boat. That's what I said, right? That is why we all are here today. Not I am not the one who is facing stress. Everybody is here facing stress, right? So we all are in the same boat. Yeah. Anything else? Anybody would like to ask anything? Okay, so no questions.
I would just like to take a moment here to, congratulate you here that we had a wonderful session, and I'm already feeling actually, I'm, releasing my stress with this 1 hour we spent with you. And of course, I would just like to take one moment here for
Yeah,
everyone who is new to this forum.
yeah.
This special process of Dreams Endeavor, and you must be wondering what is this Dreams Endeavor. So I have in the chat box I have given the link. So kindly, yeah, someone has a question here. Just let me just quickly say this. That kindly visit the www.dreamsendeavor.com, and we have several courses, and we can offer employability skills. Basically, it is based on the more the employability skills are taught. Like any job seeker can go through those courses, personality development, and it's free of cost. And Dreams Endeavor in collaboration with iFest. It is basically our aim is to promote soft skills all over the country and all over the world. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and of course,
Just
it
just
continues
a
with
moment.
yeah.
Yeah. So this
Yeah,
is the
welcome
book,
home.
ma'am, you were asking. This is the book Rhonda Byron, The Secret. So just as I said, I have read it twice. So here's the book Rhonda
Yeah,
Byron.
one of my favorite books. Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
one of my
and
favorites too.
there's
I
a
always
question
get
here.
back to it.
Rebecca Jet Singh, yes, ma'am, has a question. Can you elaborate on self-doubt when we face stressful situations? Okay.
Okay, self doubt. Yeah, so ma'am, see, self doubt is like, so what happened last year was I was confused as to what I need to do with my future. So I was confused whether I need to do B.Ed, whether I need to join corporate, whether I need to clear my PhD exam. So I was very unclear and uncertain about my future. Okay, I always doubted as to what my clear goal is, but at the end, I realized that deep down what I realized that what my end goal is, where do I see myself from, like from here, like where do I see myself when I'm 50. So I had a self talk and I realized I want to be a lecturer. So if I go with a B.Ed or anything else, that would not lead to my goal, that would not fulfill my destination. So that way I cleared my self doubt and I was persistent and I was like that moment I decided that no matter what, whether it will take me a lot of time, I will definitely clear net, if not now but later. That's how I dispel my self doubt, and that's how I came out of my self doubt. And usually this happens with all of us. We usually doubt whether we are in the right job, whether but you can only clear your self doubt when you are aware of your end goal, when you are aware of your end destination, where you want to see yourself 50 years from now. If you're clear about that, that come what may, you stay focused on your goal and continue to work on it. It might not come soon enough, but it will definitely come later. And winners never quit, right? Champions do not have that tendency to quit, so never quit and be on that road. Definitely results will come to you. Am I clear? uh, did I make some sense? Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. Namrata ma'am, you there? Thank you so much, Namrata
Yes,
ma'am,
yes,
for
I'm here.
congratulating
I
me.
think,
I took
yeah.
up the question before thanking you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being such a great
Yeah.
support to me. Thank you
Uh,
so much. Really want to
welcome,
congratulate
welcome.
you
So, yeah,
for giving this
yeah,
opportunity
I'm
as
very
well.
sorry to finish
I
this
hope everybody,
volunteer.
yeah, I hope everybody here present took something valuable out of it. If not everything, something, and something you will incorporate into your life when you are faced with some such situations.
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, I'm also
Namrata ma'am, your voice is breaking.
some points they have taken. Oh,
Hello.
is it?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Now is it audible? Am I audible
Yes.
properly?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, the same here. Yeah, I'm hoping that everyone has actually, taken away something or the other from this session.
Yeah, I really
And
hope.
yes, as I said, for these kind of sessions, if you can just spread the word, we always conduct it on Sundays, not all Sundays. You'll be
Yeah.
notified, and hopefully again, Shangi ma'am will come, and she can also take another
Definitely.
session, and some
Yeah.
other teachers, other people also can involve here. We do the special classes and the regular classes. You can go to the website. And thank you so much everyone for joining in. And I think Shivangi ma'am, you can just give the final,
Yeah.
talk
Thank you so much,
and the
everyone. Thank
final
you so much
message.
for
Yeah.
joining. I
Hello,
hope that
query.
I'll see this.
Sorry.
I'll see you all in the upcoming sessions as well. Yeah, ma'am, you're saying something?
Yeah, Namrata ma'am, I have a query here. How to come? How do we come to know about the next sessions, Sunday sessions, whenever it is conducted?
Okay. Yes, that is one good question. But
Also,
how did you come to know about this session?
I
Ma'am, how
have.
did you come to know about this?
I'm on one of the WhatsApp groups of AIFEST for yoga and
Yes,
meditation.
it is in
So,
collaboration with IFEX, and IFEX you can get it, ma'am. You can get the information from there.
okay. Also, I have written
Yeah.
the name of the book in the chat box. Those of you want to know about the book is The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. I've written the name in the chat box.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was really nice. Thank you. Okay, then.
Okay.
Hoping to see you all next Sunday as well. If
Thank
not,
you, ma'am.
if not with me, but somebody else.